In the frozen silence of the Caucasus, where peaks touch the clouds and rivers sleep beneath ice, life moves to the rhythm of the earth. Beyond the roar of cities, time slows. Snow whispers through the valleys, and shepherds walk paths older than memory. In the villages of Azerbaijan, life is not rushed, it is remembered. Welcome to Whispers of the Mountains, life in the villages of Azerbaijan. Here, between mountain and sky, every day begins with the same rhythm, the rhythm of nature. The rising sun paints the peaks in gold, and smoke rural Azerbaijan, a land where beauty and struggle live side by side. Generations have built their lives here, on the slopes of mountains, in valleys filled with orchards, and on plains rich with crops. The people are strong, patient, and deeply connected to their land. Morning in the village. The day begins early. Before sunrise, families wake to the sound of kettles boiling and firewood crackling. Tea is the first ritual of the day. Strong black tea poured into small tulip-shaped glasses. It's more than a drink. It's a symbol of welcome, comfort, and community. Even before work begins, villagers sit together for a few quiet minutes, sipping tea, talking softly, and watching the sun rise behind the hills. Breakfast is simple, but full of flavor. Freshly baked tandoor bread, homemade butter, cheese from the family's own cows, and thick local honey. Everything comes from the land around them. Soon after breakfast, the village comes alive. Men walk toward the fields or load carts for the market. Women sweep courtyards, milk cows, or gather herbs from the garden. The homes in Azerbaijani villages are built to last, made of stone, wood, and clay, shaped by centuries of wisdom. They stand low and strong, designed to survive both the burning sun of summer and the deep snow of winter. Inside, every home has warmth. Carpets cover the floors, colorful woven patterns telling stories of ancestors. Copper dishes and clay pots hang neatly on the walls. In winter, the family gathers around a small stove or fireplace, sharing food, stories, and laughter. Each home has a small garden, a private piece of paradise. Tomatoes, cucumbers, herbs, and fruit trees grow side by side. In spring, the blossoms fill the air with fragrance, and bees hum softly among the flowers. For villagers, the house is not just a shelter. It is a memory of generations, a living place where traditions breathe. The heart of the land, agriculture. In Azerbaijan's countryside, the soil is everything. Farming has been the heart of life for thousands of years. Every season brings new work, new hope, and new challenges. In the plains of Kur and Araz, farmers plant wheat, barley, and corn. These golden fields stretch as far as the eye can see. In the mountain valleys, the crops are different: potatoes, beans, lentils, and hardy vegetables that can survive the cooler air. Spring is the busiest season. Families prepare the land together. Men drive the plows, sometimes using tractors, sometimes still guiding oxen, as their fathers once did. Women plant seeds carefully, one by one, covering them with soft soil. Summer is a season of growth and patience. The days are long, the air is dry, and the farmers check their fields every morning. They know the signs of the sky, when rain will come, when wind will blow, and when to harvest. By autumn, the work of the year comes to life. Fields turn golden, and the air smells of ripened crops. Harvest time is a celebration. Families and neighbors work together, collecting grain, stacking hay, and filling storerooms for the winter ahead. Fruit farms and orchards. Azerbaijan is often called the land of fruit. Across its valleys and hills grow apples, cherries, pomegranates, peaches, and grapes. In regions like Kuba, Gabala, and Goyche, you can see endless rows of apple and pomegranate trees. In autumn, these orchards glow with color: red, yellow, green, and gold. For many families, fruit farming is both tradition and livelihood. Children climb trees to pick the highest fruit, while elders sit under the branches sorting and packing the harvest. The best fruit goes to the markets, the rest is turned into juice, jam, or dried for winter. The pomegranate holds a special place in Azerbaijani life. It is a symbol of life, fertility, and abundance. Each autumn, the pomegranate festival is celebrated in towns and villages. Streets fill with color, music, and the scent of fresh juice. It's not just a market, it's a celebration of the bond between people and the earth. Grapes, too, have a deep history. They grow best in the warm southern regions, where families still make their own juices, molasses, and sometimes traditional wines. Every bunch carries the taste of the land, sweet, rich, and pure. Strawberry farming, sweet fields of Caucasus and Gusar. In the northern regions of Caucasus and Gusar, near the Caspian coast, the air is mild, the soil is rich, and the fields stretch green and wide. Here, strawberry farms glow red in early summer, filling the countryside with color and fragrance. Families work together to harvest the delicate fruit. The berries are hand-picked one by one, soft, ripe, and full of sweetness. They're packed gently into small baskets and sent to local markets or exported abroad. Strawberries are one of Azerbaijan's most loved fruits. They symbolize freshness and early summer, appearing in homes, markets, and desserts across the country. For many villagers, the short strawberry season brings both joy and hard work. Days that begin at sunrise and end only when the last crate is filled. Persimmon farming, the golden fruit of goiche and agdash. As autumn approaches, another color fills the Azerbaijani landscape. The deep orange glow of persimmons, known locally as zurma. The regions of Goiche, Agdash, and Zardab are famous for their vast persimmon orchards. During harvest time, trees heavy with fruit turn the fields into seas of gold. Persimmon farming requires patience. Farmers pick the fruit at just the right moment, firm but sweet, and then begin the careful process of drying. Dry fruits, nature's gift for winter. Across Azerbaijan, the tradition of drying fruit has existed for centuries. It's a way to preserve summer's sweetness for the long, cold winters of the mountains. In Nakhchivan, Shaki, and Larik, villagers dry apricots, apples, pears, plums, and figs. The process is simple but careful. Fruits are sliced and laid out on wooden trays under the sun, turned by hand each day until all moisture is gone. These dry fruits are then stored in clay jars or cotton bags, used through the winter to make tea, compotes, or desserts. Each piece carries the memory of sunshine, the smell of orchards, and the taste of summer. Some families specialize in mixed dry fruit packages, combining apples, plums, peaches, and grapes, sold in local markets or sent to cities like Baku. It's a small but important source of income for many rural households. Sheep farming and the shepherd's life. Higher in the mountains, where the air turns thin and the land grows rocky, life belongs to the shepherds. Sheep farming is one of Azerbaijan's oldest traditions, passed down through generations. Every morning, shepherds guide their flocks toward the green hills. They walk for miles, following paths that have existed for centuries. The sound of bells from the sheep fills the air, mingling with the wind that sweeps across the mountains. Shepherding is not an easy life. Days are long, the weather can be harsh, and the mountains unforgiving. But the shepherds endure. For them, the open sky is home. At night, they rest in small stone huts or tents, lighting fires to keep warm. They cook simple meals, bread, cheese, tea, and share stories passed down from fathers and grandfathers. The wool from their sheep is used for carpets, clothing, and blankets. In the villages, women spin wool by hand, creating colorful threads that are woven into traditional Azerbaijani carpets, each design unique, telling stories of love, courage, and nature. The sheep also provide milk and meat, essential for every family. From this milk, villagers make cheese and yogurt, stored carefully for the cold months. In this way, the cycle of life continues, from land to animal, from generation to generation. When spring brings greens and herbs, meals become light and fresh. When autumn fills the barns and cellars, food becomes warm and comforting. And when winter wraps the land in silence, kitchens glow with the scent of soup, tea, and fresh while it's still warm. A drizzle of honey or a small cube of cheese turns it into a feast. In Azerbaijani homes, bread is sacred, a symbol of blessing and gratitude. No one wastes it, and when a piece falls to the ground, it is lifted, kissed, and placed aside with respect. Meals are often shared around a low table called a saini, where family and guests sit together on carpets. The dishes vary, but the spirit is always the same: togetherness. The most beloved dish of all is plav, or rice pilaf. It's cooked slowly, with layers of rice, saffron, butter, and sometimes meat, chestnuts, or dried fruits. Each region has its own version, and each family guards its own recipe. When plav is served, it signals a moment of celebration, a wedding, a guest's arrival, or the start of a new season. In mountain villages, soups and stews are common. Dova, a yogurt and herb soup, and bazbash, a rich meat and minced meat. And on open fires outside the home, men grill kebabs, their smoke rising into the mountain air, carrying the scent of charcoal and spice. Tea completes every meal. Served in tulip-shaped glasses, it's more than a drink, it's a symbol of welcome. Villagers take pride in offering tea to every visitor, no matter how unexpected. It's always accompanied by sugar, jam, or dried fruits, apricots, figs, or apples preserved from the summer harvest. In some villages, like Shaki and Ganja, people still make halva and baklava the traditional way, layering pastry with nuts and honey. These sweets are not only for festivals, they are a symbol of generosity shared during weddings, holidays, and every special moment life offers. To eat in an Azerbaijani village is to experience more than flavor. It is to taste the patience of the land and the kindness of the people. Azerbaijan is a historical country. They celebrate Nowruz festival as every year. Nowruz, the celebration of spring and renewal. Every year, as winter fades and the first green buds appear on the trees, Azerbaijan comes alive with one of its oldest and most beloved celebrations, Nowruz, the festival of spring and renewal. Nowruz marks the arrival of the new year according to the ancient solar calendar. It is more than 3,000 years old, a tradition that connects the people to nature, fire, and hope. In villages, the preparation for Nowruz begins weeks before the festival itself. Women clean their homes from roof to cellar, washing carpets, scrubbing walls, and sweeping courtyards. It's a symbolic act, clearing away the old year's dust to welcome the new. Men repair fences, paint doors, and prepare food for guests who will arrive in the coming days. Children love this time of year. They gather to jump over small bonfires built in the streets, shouting, "Arlum ushaklum odda kalsın." Let my worries and sickness burn away in the fire. It's a ritual of renewal, leaving behind misfortune and welcoming a fresh start. In every home, a sofra, or table of Nowruz, is prepared. It includes 7 symbolic items that begin with the letter S in Persian, but Azerbaijanis also add their own touches. Green wheat sprouts symbolizing life, candles representing fire, eggs for fertility, sweets for happiness, and coins for wealth. One of the most meaningful traditions is the planting of semeni, the sprouted wheat. Families place wheat seeds in small dishes and water them daily. By the time Nowruz arrives, the sprouts have grown tall and green, a living sign of renewal and prosperity. Music and dancing fill the villages. Men play the balaban and saz, while women and children join hands in circle dances. People visit neighbors, exchange gifts, and share endless meals. It is a time of unity. Rich and poor, young and old, all come together. Special foods mark the celebration. Shakarbura, filled with ground nuts and sugar, pakslava, golden and sweet, and kufta bozbash, a soup with large meatballs cooked slowly over open flames. During Nowruz week, the spirit of generosity shines. Those who have more share with those who have less. No one is left alone. And when night falls, fireworks and laughter echo across the valleys, lighting up the dark sky above the mountains. In villages like Lahij, Shaki, and Kabala, Nowruz feels timeless, a living connection between the past and the present. Even as modern life changes the cities, here in the countryside, the old customs remain alive, carried by the rhythm of nature itself. Winter in the mountains. Silence and strength. When winter arrives, the beauty of Azerbaijan changes completely. The orchards sleep, the fields rest, and the mountains turn white and silent. For the villagers, it is both the hardest and most peaceful season of all. Snow often cuts off roads, isolating small villages for days or even weeks. But the people are prepared. They store food, firewood, and dry goods from autumn. Everything needed to survive the long, cold months. Inside the homes, fires burn constantly. The air smells of wood smoke and freshly cooked bread. Women spin wool into yarn, mend clothes, and make warm socks and blankets. Men feed the animals, clear snow from paths, and repair tools for the coming spring. Children play in the snow, building small forts, sliding down hills, or simply watching flakes fall on their mittens. For them, winter is a wonder, a world transformed into white magic. Meals become heavier and heartier, lentil soups, stews, and potatoes baked with butter. Tea is drunk all day long, keeping hands warm and spirits high. In the evenings, families gather near the fire. Grandparents tell stories, tales of heroes, shepherds, and love that crosses mountains. These stories, passed from generation to generation, keep history alive in endurance, patience, and unity. Winter also brings a kind of reflection. Farmers look back on the year, counting blessings and planning the next planting season. Every snowfall, every storm reminds them of nature's power and of the need to live in harmony with it. When the first signs of spring appear, the sound of melting snow, the call of birds, it feels like a miracle. Life begins again, just as it always has. Family, community, and the spirit of hospitality. At the heart of every Azerbaijani village is family. Homes are often multi-generational, grandparents, parents, and children living together under one roof. Respect for elders is deeply rooted in culture. Their advice is valued, their stories cherished, and their presence considered a blessing. Community life is equally strong. If someone builds a house, neighbors help without asking. If a family faces difficulty, others bring food or offer support. Festivals, weddings, and funerals involve everyone. Joy and sorrow are shared alike. Hospitality is sacred. No visitor ever leaves a house without tea, bread, and something to eat. Even strangers are welcomed warmly because kindness is part of life's moral duty. A cup of tea in an Azerbaijani village is more than refreshment. It's a connection, a silent way of saying, "You are welcome here." In the evenings, after the day's work is done, life slows down again. Families gather together, children do homework, mothers knit or embroider, fathers repair tools, and the elders pray or tell stories. The television may play in the background, but the real entertainment is conversation, laughter, memories, and simple human warmth. Between tradition and change. Over the past few decades, life in Azerbaijani villages has begun to change. Young people travel to cities for education or work. Some return with new ideas, while others stay, seeking a modern life. Electricity, mobile phones, and the internet have reached even the remote mountain areas. Villagers now use smartphones to sell their farm produce, call relatives abroad, or learn new farming techniques. Yet despite these changes, the soul of the village remains untouched. The fields are still plowed, the sheep still graze, the bread still bakes in the tendir. What's new only adds to what's old, a blending of tradition and progress. In many ways, this balance defines modern Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan Village Wedding, a celebration of love and tradition. In the heart of Azerbaijan's countryside, where mountains guard green valleys and rivers sing through orchards, weddings are more than ceremonies. They are living festivals of culture, family, and community. A village wedding here is not just the joining of two people. It is the union of two families, two histories, and the continuation of generations that have walked the same soil for centuries. In Azerbaijani villages, marriage begins long before the wedding day. It starts with quiet conversations between families, whispered hopes between mothers, and the formal visit known as elçilik, the traditional proposal. When a young man wishes to marry, his family visits the girl's home, carrying sweets and gifts, often wrapped beautifully in colorful fabrics. Tea is served. If the girl's family agrees to the proposal, sugar is added to the tea, symbolizing the sweetness of the new relationship. If not, the tea remains plain, polite, but without promise. When both families agree, celebrations begin at once. Relatives and neighbors gather to congratulate the couple, and plans for the engagement, nishan, are made. Gold rings are exchanged, sometimes alongside scarves, jewelry, or even embroidered shawls made by the bride's family. From that moment, the bride and groom are officially promised to one another, and the entire village begins to prepare for the wedding, a celebration that can last several days. The days before the wedding. In the days leading up to the wedding, the bride's home becomes a center of joyful chaos. Women gather to bake sweets, baklava, shakarbura, and kozlukat. Laughter fills the kitchen as trays of golden pastries line the tables. Children run in and out, stealing pieces of dough and giggling when caught. Meanwhile, the groom's friends and relatives decorate the family courtyard with ribbons and flags. They prepare the toy evi, the wedding house, where guests will gather. Traditional musicians tune their instruments, the zurna, balaban, and na'ara. Their sounds echo through the valley, announcing to everyone, a wedding is coming. The wedding day, joy, music, and celebration. When the wedding day dawns, the entire village awakens early. Neighbors, relatives, and even distant friends arrive from nearby towns. In rural Azerbaijan, a wedding is not a private event. It is a public celebration. The more guests, the greater the honor. The groom's procession begins first. Cars or horses are decorated with ribbons, flowers, and Azerbaijani flags. The feast and dancing. The wedding feast is a sight to behold. Long tables stretch across courtyards covered with colorful tablecloths. Dishes of plav, kebabs, dolma, and salads fill every inch. Tea is poured constantly, and sweets are passed around in endless circles. The zurna and na'ara take center stage. The first dance belongs to the bride and groom, slow and graceful, surrounded by the cheers of family. Azerbaijan's mountain villages, life above the clouds. High in the Caucasus Mountains, where the air turns sharp and the clouds rest on the peaks, lie some of Azerbaijan's most breathtaking mountain villages, places where time slows and tradition still breathes. One of the most remarkable among them is Kinalug, often called the village in the sky. Perched at more than 2,300 meters above sea level, Kinalug is one of the oldest continuously inhabited villages in the world. For over 5,000 years, its people have lived surrounded by ridges, snow, and silence. The stone houses rise in terraces along the mountain slope, their roofs serving as courtyards for the homes above. In winter, the village seems carved from the rock itself, a fortress of endurance standing against the wind. Life here is simple, but rich in spirit. Villagers herd sheep and goats across steep meadows, make cheese and butter by hand, and weave warm clothes from thick wool. The rhythm of life is guided by the seasons, planting in spring, grazing in summer, harvesting hay in autumn, and surviving the long white winters together. Every task is shared, every meal is communal, because in the mountains, community is survival. Further south lies Lahij, another famous mountain village nestled on the slopes of the Greater Caucasus. Lahij is known not only for its beauty, but for its craftsmanship. For centuries, its cobblestone streets have echoed with the ring of hammers and the hiss of fire, the sound of coppersmiths at work. Generations of artisans have shaped pots, trays, and ornaments with patterns that tell stories of faith, family, and nature. Even today, young craftsmen learn from their elders, keeping the ancient art of metalwork alive. Each of these mountain villages, Hinalug, Lahij, and others like Kabala, Laza, and Krez, holds a piece of Azerbaijan's soul. They stand as living museums where culture, language, and legend have been preserved for centuries. In the evenings, when the sun sinks behind the peaks and the sky turns gold, villagers gather around wood fires. Stories are told of brave shepherds, lost travelers, and spirits of the mountains that protect them still. In these high places, modern life feels far away. There are no skyscrapers, no traffic, only the call of the wind and the quiet strength of people who live close to the earth. Azerbaijan's frozen mountains. Life in the silence of winter. Winter in Azerbaijan's mountains is not just a season. It is a test of patience, strength, and faith. As snow begins to fall over the Caucasus, the green valleys vanish beneath a white, endless silence. The roads disappear, the rivers freeze, and the world slows down to the rhythm of the wind. In places like Kinalug, Laza, and Kriz, the mountains become both beautiful and merciless. Temperatures drop far below zero. Frost decorates every roof and tree branch, turning the villages into living postcards of ice and stillness. Yet, inside the stone houses, warmth and life never fade. Villagers prepare for this season long before it arrives. In autumn, they gather hay for animals, dry fruits, and store grains in wooden barrels. Firewood is stacked high beside the homes, a wall of warmth for the months ahead. When the first snow falls, families close their doors and begin the quiet rhythm of winter life. The smoke from chimneys rises slowly into the white sky, marking every home with a sign of survival. Inside, fires burn in clay stoves, filling the rooms with the scent of pine and bread baked in the tendir. Women cook thick soups of lentils and meat, while men feed the animals sheltered in small barns nearby. Children, wrapped in wool, press their faces against the frosted windows, watching the world sparkle in silence. Outside, the mountains glow under the sun like silver. Shepherds, their coats heavy with snow, still walk the slopes, guiding flocks through narrow paths to hidden valleys where the wind is softer. It is dangerous work. One wrong step can lead to ice or avalanche, but it is part of life, passed down through generations. When storms come and snow buries the roads, the villages become islands. No cars, no visitors. Only the sound of the wind and the call of distant wolves. Yet, even then, no one feels alone. Neighbors visit each other on foot, carrying tea, bread, and stories. Hospitality never stops, even in the coldest nights. In the evenings, families gather around the fire. Elders tell tales of ancient winters, of heroes who crossed frozen passes, of spirits who guard the mountains. The flickering firelight dances across the walls as snow drifts quietly outside. Winter here is not seen as an enemy, but as a teacher. It teaches patience, unity, and respect for nature's power. Azerbaijan's mountain markets, where craft meets culture. In the folds of Azerbaijan's mountains, where clouds drift low and stone paths wind through ancient valleys, life is not measured by time, but by tradition. Here, every weekend, the quiet rhythm of the mountains wakes to the sound of trade, laughter, and craft. It is market day, the heartbeat of the highlands. In villages like Lahij, Kabala, and Shaki, Narrow cobblestone streets fill with people carrying baskets of fruit, wool, and handmade goods. The air smells of wood smoke and fresh bread, mixed with the metallic ring of hammers shaping copper. These mountain markets are more than places of commerce. They are living museums of Azerbaijani culture. The coppersmiths of Lahij are known across the world. For centuries, their ancestors melted metal in clay furnaces and shaped it into pots, trays, and water jugs, each one engraved with delicate floral patterns and sacred symbols. Today, that same rhythm continues. The sound of hammer against metal echoes through the narrow alleys, a song of history and skill. Young apprentices watch carefully, learning not just the craft, but the patience that defines it. Nearby, women display hand-woven carpets and kilims, their colors deep as the mountain earth. Each pattern tells a story, a blessing for a new home, a prayer for love, a memory of an ancestor. These carpets are not just decoration. They are woven stories, each thread a whisper of identity. Farmers come down from higher slopes, bringing baskets of dried fruits, apricots, apples, mulberries, and walnuts. These are treasures of the mountain, dried slowly under the sun, stored for the long winters ahead. Beside them, jars of golden honey glisten on wooden tables, collected from wild bees that live in the forest slopes of Kabala and Ismaili. Dairy farming in Azerbaijan, the milk of the mountains. In the green valleys and rolling hills of Azerbaijan, where mist drifts between the mountains and meadows glow with morning dew, life begins each day with the sound of cowbells. This is the land of shepherds, farmers, and milk, where dairy farming is not only a livelihood, but a heritage passed down through generations. From Kabala to Ganja, from the high pastures of Kinalu to the farmlands of the Shamaki region, families rise before sunrise. The air is cool and silent, except for the soft calls of cattle returning from the fields. Milking begins as dawn touches the peaks, a ritual as old as the mountains themselves. Most of Azerbaijan's dairy farms are small, family-run, and deeply connected to nature. Here, every cow has a name. The farmers know their animals not here. In the mountain villages, cows, sheep, and goats graze freely on wild herbs and clover. This natural diet gives Azerbaijani milk its unique richness and flavor. The farmers use traditional methods to turn that milk into butter, yogurt, and cheese, all handmade, without machines, without hurry. The process begins in the kitchen, where large copper pots are set over a wood fire. The milk is slowly heated and stirred by hand. When it thickens, the cream is skimmed, and the remaining liquid becomes yogurt, known locally as katuk. Its taste is pure and slightly tart, a true taste of the land. From the same milk comes pendir, the white cheese that fills Azerbaijani breakfasts and village tables. It's stored in salted brine and served with bread baked in the tandir oven, fresh herbs, and tea. Every bite carries the human life moving together as one. Modern dairies now exist in cities and plains, producing milk on a larger scale. But in the villages, tradition endures. Farmers still rely on the sun, the rain, and the rhythm of the seasons. They still value the taste of natural, handmade food, the kind that carries memory in every drop. Horse farming and heritage, the pride of Azerbaijan. Across the wide plains and mountain valleys of Azerbaijan, where the wind moves like a living spirit and the horizon stretches endlessly, horses are not just animals. They are symbols of pride, strength, and freedom. For centuries, the horse has been at the heart of Azerbaijani life, in work, in war, and in celebration. And even today, in the quiet rhythm of the villages, that ancient bond remains alive. In regions like Kabala, Shirvan, and the Karabakh highlands, the sight of horses grazing under the open sky is part of daily life. Farmers raise them with the same devotion their ancestors once showed to the legendary Karabakh horse, a breed known for its beauty, endurance, and noble spirit. Its golden chestnut coat and proud gait made it famous far beyond Azerbaijan's borders, admired by travelers, poets, and kings. Horse farming begins with patience. Foals are born in spring, when the grass is fresh and soft. From their first steps, they are cared for like family. Farmers feed them by hand, brush their coats each morning, and speak to them gently. For here, it is believed that a horse can understand the heart of its master. As they grow, the young horses are trained in open fields, their hooves pounding against the earth like drums of the past. Men ride bareback at first, learning balance and trust. The bond between horse and rider is sacred, built on respect, not control, not go. Their strength keeps life moving, especially in the mountain regions during winter when roads vanish under snow. Yet horses are more than workers, they are part of celebration. During festivals and weddings, especially in rural areas, horsemen still perform ancient equestrian games. One of the most beloved is chovkan, the traditional horseback sport that inspired modern polo. Teams of riders charge across the field, striking a small ball with long sticks, their horses turning sharply with precision and grace. The crowd cheers as dust rises, not just for the competition, but for the living tradition it represents. Horse-drawn carriages also remain a charming part of village and small-town life. In older neighborhoods and mountain roads, the rhythmic clip-clop of hooves can still be heard. Carriages decorated with ribbons and flowers carry families to weddings, or tourists through historical towns like Shaki and Lahij, where the past feels close enough to touch. To the people of Azerbaijan, the horse is more than an animal. It is a companion, a protector, and a reminder of who they are. Traditional games of Azerbaijan, the spirit of play and heritage. In the heart of Azerbaijan's villages, where mountains meet the sky and time still flows with the rhythm of nature, the spirit of play has always been alive. One of the most ancient and proud traditions is chovkan, the horseback game that inspired modern polo. Played on wide plains or mountain fields, two teams of horsemen chase a wooden ball, using curved sticks to strike it toward a goal. The thunder of hooves, the sharp turns, and the calls of the riders fill the air with energy. It is not just a sport. It is a display of discipline, courage, and the deep connection between a man and his horse. Azerbaijan, the land where time still breathes. From the frozen silence of the Caucasus to the sunlit valleys of Kabala, from the shepherds of Kinalug to the farmers of Shamaki, Azerbaijan is a land where every mountain, every stone, and every smile carries a story. Here, life moves with the rhythm of the seasons. Winter tests strength, spring brings rebirth, summer fills the orchards with sweetness, and autumn hums with harvest songs. It is a life that may seem simple, but in its simplicity is a deep wisdom, that happiness is not found in speed, but in stillness, not in abundance, but in appreciation, not in noise, but in the quiet beauty of home. And so, as the snow melts and the fields bloom once again, the people of the connection between land and people remains unbroken. The dairymen stirring milk before sunrise, the horsemen galloping across endless plains, the children stacking stones in laughter, and the elders telling stories by firelight. All are threads of one great tapestry called Azerbaijan. Its traditions are not frozen in museums. They live in hands, in music, in the scent of bread from the tandir oven. Every moment here feels timeless, both ancient and alive. And so, if you ever wish to see a place where history walks beside you, where mountains whisper legends, and where hospitality warms even the coldest day, come to Azerbaijan. Travel through its villages, taste its food, breathe its mountain air, and feel the soul of a nation that never forgets its roots. If this journey touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps bring more hidden corners of the world to light, places where tradition still breathes and life still feels pure. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep exploring, keep feeling, and keep the story alive.